All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Liberty Show. My name is Leonard, and I'm the host of the show. First, please, I want all of us to please mute our mic, except if we want to talk. Let our mic always be off. Okay, so now, for the past 2 weeks, we have been discussing the Adventure of Jonathan Gullible of Market Odyssey, a book by one of the amazing professors of economics, Professor Ken Schoolland, that lives in Hawaii. Last week, he was here with us to actually discuss and review the chapter 11 to 20 of the book. But this week, we are discussing chapter 21 to 30 of the book. So basically what we do in the review club is we ask some salient questions about what we've read about the book, and we give comments about it, and we bring it down to how it affects our day-to-day activity and how we can bring it down to what is happening in our environment today. So that's basically what we do on the review. We bring the review down to life. So without wasting our time, we've all had what Mr. Sonny mentioned. It is very cool that we do it according to plan, and so that we won't spend much time on this show today. So, for those of us that have read the book, we will understand fully what we've learned so far from the book, from the first adventure of Jonathan on the sea, getting to the island, the meeting of different persons that he has met so far. So today we are going into chapter 21 to 21 to 30. 21 to 30. And to go fully into it, I will ask the first question, which is like a more of a general question. How will the government use the product of labor and your past labor to control your future? Chapter 21 made mention of using the present and the future, because the thief was saying, Jonathan, is that your present or you give me your future? So now, how can we bring that to the government? Can you hear me? You can unmute yourself to speak. Yeah. So now, do we all get the question? I can't see anyone unmuted themselves here. If you check your screen, On paragraph 2, there is something down there that said, give me your past or your future. Now, the question is, how can the government use the products of your labor and your past labor to control your future?
Uh, can I say something about this one?
Please go ahead.
By imposing regulations, laws, and the taxes that people must pay, and and the pretense that they can um, have, let's say, a safe future and so on. So when you are paying the taxes and many taxes for maybe for retirement or taxes to help other use the your product, to control your future. This is my contribution.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Carlos. Do we have any other person who wants to put something on that? Carlos, please mute your mic. If you're not talking, please mute your mic. Mr. Sonny, do you have anything to say to that? Mrs. Is it Miss or Miss Fresia Tando? Ferdinand, do you have anything to say to that? How does the government use the present and the future level, the past level, to control the future?
Hello.
Go ahead, please. We can hear you.
Yeah, it is very important. We all contribute to this conversation. Although it's been a long time, I didn't even have time to review the book again before this reading challenge. Because I've read the book before now, but each time I like to review the book once more. What I would say is that government right from time has been able to uh, exploit us in some way by putting up some economic measures that they feel is good for us, and actually is not really good for us. It's just like the case of in the title of that book that I said, "Give me your past or your future," where the thief is trying to, where the thief was trying to rob Jonathan Gullible. Mm, the better we know that there is less place of government in our day-to-day life, the better we'll live happily and do what give us happiness as an individual. Um, I will say that if we must become successful and do what we need to do as a person, we need to realize that there is a limit. There are limited things that the government had to do for us. We need to or everything that happens to us, any challenge you face, we should not limit it to government. Most people say, what are the government doing? What are the government do? Why can't they do it this way? And I always ask, what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for yourself to become outstanding in what you do? How can you help? How can you even help those around you? You can do something in your own little way to cause change in your community. So I would just say them in that aspect. Um, if we give more power to the government, they use it, they capitalize on that power to exploit us and dominate us with their rule. So I would say once government have less power, the people tend to, if government have less power and with the power is in our hand, we tend to do the things that will bring prosperity, and a fairer future in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sonny, for that. We really appreciate that. Okay, now moving on to my second question of today. In chapter 22, we talked about a farmer who wants to sell, the headman, who trade one of his cow to buy a bull. Why does the headman trade one of his cow to buy a bull? And how can we relate that to the current economic situation of the world?
Hello?
Go ahead, Carlos, we can hear you.
Is to sell a one cow bull so it can produce more cows. Because if you have a pair, a bull and a cow, so you have possibility to produce more. So you're gonna create more prosperity for yourself. You're gonna create more opportunity for yourself. It could be just 3 or 4. But if you pair with a bull, so you have possibility to increase your cows for how many, as much as you want. This is I think why he wants to sell his cows.
Okay, thank you very much. Now that we have that understanding, are there examples of this such behavior in the world today? If there is, can you give us one or two? Anyone? Let's link into the political situation of the world that we are currently living in. Zainab, do you want to take that? Anyone? How can we link the bull case to our day-to-day activity today?
I would say that I would love us to have this conversation. I want everybody to contribute. I don't want us to be only me and Carlos just talking and Leon is just asking that question. We're not the only one on this call. But what I can just say is that I would say that uh, in my own scenario, based on my understanding, I would say um, I would say that so there are some things that nations, there are some collaborations and what they call partners agreements that nations signed between themselves. If I'm having a particular thing and I feel that you and I feel it will be beneficial to me, it will be more
So,
beneficial to me. For example, a nation, for example, uh, so for example, a nation having oil may decide to supply oil to a country who is having food, and in turn he gets food from that country. So there are some economic agreement that nations come together to agree upon just for them to live well. as a nation. It's just like what they call like more or less like Nigeria now. We supplied some of our neighboring country in West Africa with electricity. Why? Because they don't have the means to generate electricity power for themselves, and even though they have, they may not have the capacity, and we are able to show the hand of love to them by the agreement, like the two party coming together agreeing, and possibly there's going to be a lot of uh relationship among them, because they have something to offer, and this other person had something to offer the country. I think that's the day to day of what is happening in our life, our society today. But actually, if you look at it, there are some economic measure that the country, the our government takes that is not favorable to us. Just like the man is not really ready to sell, like to give out this car, or it's because of the fear that, oh, these people may take the two car from me, or possibly, I think I had a scenario whereas the man was saying, people were saying, why will you be having two cows? I'll take one. They're like, the take one from you, and the other person say something about taking the two cow. So the fair, some of the measures that we take at times is not favorable to us as a person, but we intend to take it. And some government uh, measures, or some government, what government do sometimes is not really really favorable to the masses. So some actions really affect us, like some treaty we sign with the international community, our neighboring countries. It's not really helping. So that's some of the challenge, because government they feel that this is good for us, so they intend to go into the agreement because of the power we've given to them. So I felt that's why I said, once we have less government interference, we tend to have people who come out with their true potential as a person, as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny. And that was elaborate. Okay, now in chapter 23, we talked about fortune teller and economist. We know what fortune teller, well, we know what they do, and actually we know what economist, we know what they do. Now, this is a general question. Anybody in the house, whether, regardless of whether you've read the book or not, should be able to answer this. Is there any difference or any similarity between the fortune tellers and the economists? Is there a difference between fortune tellers and economists, given the fact that they both predict the future? Let's have more people to comment on them. Zainab, are you there? You can unmute yourself. It's Pressure. What's the difference between fortune tellers and economists? Even though the fact that they both predict the future. Okay. Can I expatiate more on it? Sure. According to chapter 23 of the book, the author made mention of a man Jonathan met, and I was discussing, and the man was like, he's an economist, he's not a fortune teller, and he gives his own prediction based on this or that. That is not what I don't want to mention. So, fortune tellers and economists predict the future. But is there any difference between them according to the book? because the author made mention what gives the difference between them. And it's in chapter 23 of the book. Anyone taking a bite on that? Okay. If anyone cannot get that, let me just go. Let me just give answer to that. Fortune tellers base their prediction on mostly spiritual or just guesswork. But economists base their prediction on facts and past experiences. So that's just the difference between them. One uses facts, the other uses the assumptions and spiritual routines. And most of these times, these people are not always correct. Because I can remember growing up as a Nigerian, as an African, you will see that some people will tell you rain is not going to fall in the next 7 days, and the rain is not going to fall. Just because they've added one thing or the other to eat underwear spiritually, which actually should be rain up. And you have scientists who will tell you that rain is not going to fall in the next 7 days. It's not that they use anything spiritual, but now they use the fact and the things, the atmospheric condition to set up what they need to set. So that's actually the similarity between fortune teller and economists, except that one goes into spiritual and this other one use facts and figures. Do we all get that? Do we have any other person who wants to make any comments as for that? Mr. Olivide, welcome to the show. We're talking about the difference between fortune tellers and economists.
Yeah,
Carlos, want to say something?
Another thing I would like to mention is that the economists always often work for government, and they are never punished when they fail in the production. And whereas the fortune tellers, when they fail, they can be punished. You can go back and ask the fortune teller to give you back your money. But when it's happened with the economists, because they work on the side of the government, they're always protecting. No one will ask you to pay back the money. They will tell you, okay, because of this, that's why things not happen. He said, this is another thing I want to just mention. To add.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Okay, now, with what we've seen so far with fortune tellers and economists, can we say to a larger extent their prediction about the future always come to effect? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how much have they failed? Anyone there? As prediction of economists and fortune tellers in the past yield more positive results. Let me give an example of that for us to fully understand what I'm saying. United States of America was saying that there will be minimum of 200,000 deaths out of the COVID-19 virus before the end of June. That was what they predicted in March. But now, the end of June is here, and they are just in 124, around 125,000 deaths, which is actually not right. And now they are pushing it to October. Like before October, this is the number will die. So we use that example because they're the one that at least they have the data available to the public. This is that kind of example. Can we say that the economists, their prediction always work? And can we actually trust their prediction all the time? We need your opinion on that. Anyone? Mr. Daramola, can we hear your voice on that? Hello? I hope everyone can hear me.
Hello.
Okay, Mr. Sonny, I
I
can
think
hear
I'll
you.
just overall I would say whether whether a fortune teller or economist is not. I would just say the prediction is not always right. But I would say that whether we deal with fact or we deal with selling what will happen by the fortune teller, what will be will just be. That's just all I can say. I don't want to say more on it because I don't really, I have not done my, okay, I don't really had more talk on that for now.
Okay. All right. No problem. Okay, now that leads me to my next question. Is it logical to decide morality, power, wealth, and right by the numbers of votes? Do you think it's logical to decide morality, power, wealth, and right by the number of votes a candidate can get during an election?
No, it's not right from my own point of view.
And if
In
you
the
say
sense
that,
that,
okay, good.
in the sense that, take for instance, if the number of very bad persons in the society are the number of people that voted in, and of course a leader will amass, will be the one to rule that territory. So which implies, take for instance, if the total number of people who voted are 80 and the 80s are smokers and 20 are non-smokers, so the person that emerged from that 80% equally smokes. So they could make a rule saying that smoking it's not a sin or is allowed in any part of the country. So based on that reason, sequence to the fact that the highest number of voters are much, they could they say that that is a moral judgment or a right due to the fact that the total number of voters exceeded the number of very good guys in the society. So based on that, I would say that it's not a function of the number of persons that voted make something right or make it a rule to become a rule. That is my own submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daramola. Okay, now, if the number of votes is not logical inside morality, so what is the best basis for determining morality, power, wealth, and right?
All right,
What do you
from
think
my
is the
own
best?
point of view, once your action is not harming your neighbor, it's not harming your community, then what you are doing is right. Since it's not harming the community, not harming the planet, and not harming any other person, then what you are doing is right. Then such can transit to a power being agreed together. Okay, this is the way we do our things in this community. This is the way we rule, and we don't affect each other based on our attitude or our behavior or the way we carry out our activity. Then we can have such power to rule or to govern that area. Then we could say such power is right based on our action. That's my own submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any other person who want to think to say about that? What is the best basis of determining morality, power, wealth, and right in a locality? Anyone? Okay. I think there is. Let me check the message. Okay. There's nothing there. Okay. Now, my next question is: it is very common for voters to vote for incumbent candidates. Why do you think voters usually vote for incumbents? This is a general question that anybody can answer amongst us here. So why do you think people love to vote for incumbents?
Based on my experience and a little involvement in politics and my observation, I would say one, sometimes people believe in this fact that someone whom you have known his or her behavior is far better than someone who is newly coming to probably bring a new system or bring a new rule or whatsoever to the system. So they just prefer to vote for the incumbent. One. Two, based on the fact that there is no continuity in some part of the world, the agenda of the incumbent is let me continue the project I've started earlier on. I kickstart this project towards the end of my tenure. Let me continue this and this and that. And that sweet saying, promises and lies makes people to vote for incumbency. Three, let me say support from the higher authority or the ruling party of a country might make people to vote for incumbency. Four, okay, fine, a government that have done well or a president that have done well for the first tenure, they might see the reasons for him to or he or she to continue in that state. Hence, people vote for such person again. So those are my submissions to the fact that people can vote for incumbency based on that my own submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a well exhausted reason. So do we have any other person who wants to say something about that?
Yes.
Welcome, Mr. Barrow.
Okay.
Hello,
Hello.
Carlos.
Okay.
Yes, honey.
I think I will say what I will say about that is people majorly if an incumbent government was able to do excellently well by carrying out infrastructural development, by meeting the people's need, by bringing in policy that will help the people to be prosperous. Definitely, that government will still be voted, returned back into its office. But one of the major challenge we have in the African context, we're talking about African as a whole, is this incumbent. most time when they do not perform to expectation, they use their power. When I talk about power, I'm talking about money, the influence, and whatever. So they intend to. That's why we had some corrupt practices during election, like vote buying, thuggery. Anywhere this place is not, maybe the particular election vote is not favoring me, I intend to cause riot in that place and just to make it favor me. So those are some of the things where it's good for us to have an incumbent to perform excellently well. And it's another thing. The disadvantage of this incumbent is that they see that, oh, if this is not working, if they are not able to meet the needs of the masses, they intend to use the power, and and they intend to use their influence that they have over them by using the power to to um to get the second time returning back into office. So I think that's just the summary of what I can just add to what Olumide has said for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny, for that. Okay, so Carlos,
Yes.
what's happening?
I just want to add something also. Sometimes also it's because people fear change, and because their parents did, or because everyone that community does, so they think that, okay, this is the best. I grown up seeing my parents, my family, my community always vote in this person, in this incumbent, so they follow. They fear the change. This is one of the reason also, on top of what the Sunny have said, or Daramola have already said. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, now, so my next question. If someone did not vote during the voting process, does the person have the right to complain about the politician or their policies?
Hello? Hello?
Please go ahead. Please
So
go ahead. We can hear you.
I would say that one of the rights of a citizen is to vote and to be voted for. And when you are not doing that as a citizen, the privilege that you have to vote a credible candidate into office is taken away from you. But that doesn't mean you don't have a say in the government of the day. Despite majorly people have this notion that when you are not involved in the maybe voting in a particular party or government into office, you don't have a say about it. If a government, that's where freedom of speech comes in. Freedom of speech and freedom of expression. You should be able to, once a government is not doing well in the area of their policy making, their actions, what they are doing, the individual should be able to come out and say, this is not supposed to be so. In fact, one of the things that have brought government into their tools is because of people are able to voice out and say, oh, policy is not helpful for us, and it has really helped us to checkmate them because of this freedom of speech. So nevertheless, I will not advise anybody not to be involved in voting in the best candidate of their choice during election. I will advise that the right of a citizen is to vote and to be voted for. That's just all I can say about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny. Do we have any other person who wants to
All right.
say something about that?
Let me see. Choosing a leader for in the region to rule, voting is one of the process. So if you are not part of the process, you should not complain of the end result. Like the example I made the other time, if 80% of the person that voted in are same guys that are smoking, for instance, if they make a law of saying that smoking is allowed in the country anywhere, and if that does not vote, that don't smoke, and refuse to vote during election period, does not have the right to come and complain and say, oh, this and this and that, government is this and this, since you refuse to vote. So that is it. So if you refuse to vote and to be voted for, you don't have the right to complain about the act and the action or the results a leader or the policy being meted on those who refuse to vote, as well as those who have been voted for, those that have voted. You don't have the right to complain as regards that. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, brother. Okay, now, according to the book, the author made something clear, and I want us to bring it out. Is it a duty to vote or a right? Is it a duty to vote or is it a right?
It's a right.
So, if we agree to it that it's a right, then it is only natural for us to say that I have the right to vote and I have the right not to vote. And at the same time, since it's not a duty, according to the author in the book, I have the right to complain about what people say, or about the policies made by the government or the politicians. What do you say to that in our day-to-day activity? Do you share the sentiment of the author? Let's talk on that. Anyone? Carlos, you're saying something?
As you mentioned, there is a difference between the duty to vote and the right to vote. Something different. It means that every citizen has the right to be allowed to vote, but there is no a duty to do so. That's depend on the person itself. If somebody decides to vote or not voting, that's the personal choice. But it doesn't mean that the person cannot criticize what's going on, because you may see the two candidates, none of them have the criteria you have to that can may move you to vote on them. You see, so you may decide not to vote on them, neither of them. But you have, if something happened in your country, you are the citizen, so you have the right to criticize that something is wrong or something is good. This is my personal.
All right, thank you. I think, do we all share the same sentiment with the author and Carlos on that? Or do we have somebody who wants to say something?
Let me say something.
Okay.
In most cases, people refuse to vote. Yes, they are aware it's their rights. Yes, they are aware that it's a fundamental human rights for you to vote and to be voted for. But because one, the candidate or whosoever to be voted for, it's not the best fit or a best match for such person, he refuses to vote. Hence, he does not unconsciously complains about the government, and consciously he still complains about the government or about that such ruler in such community. So take for instance, it's my right to vote, and if based on whatever agreement a party is having or whatever the standard they have, it is not meeting or suiting the overall standards which the country needs or people really need, then we might decide not to vote. We might decide not to vote and just hold back our rights to ourselves and let them just rule their 4 years or whatever year allotted to them. And maybe they'll come back again and come and beg us or say whatsoever they needed to say, just to bring back the incumbent into the same position again. So that is it. So yes, it's your rights. You might want to use your rights. You might keep it to yourself, but then you don't have the right to complain about a government or a leader performing or not if you refuse to be part of the process. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Now to our last question for today on the show. It's a quote by Frederick Bastiat. He says, the state of the great fictitious, sorry, let me go again. The state is the great fictitious entity by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. How can you bring these into the chapter tricks and trick of chapter 20 of the book of the Adventure of Jonathan Gullible? How can we bring this to life? The state is the great fictitious entity by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. How can we bring this to life? Or let me say, how do we understand that Frederick Bastiat's quote? Now that's the last question, and I want everybody to give a comment on it.
Okay, if I might say something, I think what that place is really talking about is trying to say that. Can you repeat the question? I'm trying to get something out of it. Sorry.
The state is the great fictitious entity by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else.
Okay. Okay. I
How do
think
we understand that quote?
I think to me, what I understand is that is I think if we're talking about the state, that means we're talking about the government. And
Yeah.
since we are looking at the government has been given more power to operate, and they intend to give us a set of rules and regulation for us that they feel that, oh, this rule will be favorable to us, and a individual interest differs. That's why we had if I have my ideas about things and I may not agree with another person's idea, like somebody coming up with socialism, because I believe in capitalism, free market ideology. Now, if I see somebody coming with socialism, I may not necessarily counter that person. I may actually just agree with the person, not because I agree with that person totally, because I just feel, oh, this person have his own, he has the right to say his opinion, but that doesn't mean it will influence my own opinion, my own idea about it. So, but we must understand right now that most of the rules, that policy that governments lay down is not favorable to us. And I keep on saying that government is an entity, or should I say a body, that is I feel should just create an enabling environment for business to flourish, for economic development, for individual prosperity, and we'll move ahead. But a situation where the government is given too much power, they intend to use it in a wrong way, and our liberty is being trampled upon in our day-to-day African society, because we intend to give the government power over all the things, over everything that is happening in the nation. So they intend to ride on us because we give them more power, we delegate more power to them, and once more power is delegated to somebody, they intend to use it in a way that will not favor everybody, because everybody's interest differs. That's what I would say about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny, for that. Mr. Alumide, can we hear from you?
Yeah. So, like Simon Johnson have rightly said, it is given that yes, your leader has authority, he can make certain rules to favor you, or to favor everybody generally, so to say. But then, in most cases, these rules are not favoring higher population, and in most cases, the power is given to them that they use it not almost against the highest percentage of masses, and not for the good of the masses. So, take for instance, the road to a community it's not done, and such man still lives in the same community, of course it's going to affect both the poor, the rich, even the very big um leader in such community. So I would say these really affect both the voters and those who refuse to vote. So it's in our own duty to vote for candidates who won't fail us, who won't bring policy that will affect our children, affect our freedom, and affect our activity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Um, Carlos, can we hear from you?
I didn't understand well this question. Can you go back over it?
Carlos, are you there?
Yes, I was saying that I didn't understand well your question. Can you say again?
You said?
I didn't understand well your question. Can you say it again?
Okay, the quote, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. I can say it again. The state is the great fictitious entity by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else.
Okay, now,
What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
okay, I got it. It's mean, according to my understanding, okay, um, the state, okay, is creating jobs to, I mean, to manipulate the life of the people, to not let people, to be free or to make their own choice, so they can manipulate the population, the whole population, instead of let everyone individual make their own choice. And so they want control the population, and also to manipulate and for their own, I mean, they their own benefit. This is what I understand.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mrs. Stando, or is it Miss Standard? Can we hear from you? Or do you understand that? Let's hear your voice. Well, should I? Zainab, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so what do you have to say to that Frederick Bastiat's quote?
Well, I really don't have anything to say about it because I didn't read the book.
Oh, okay, no problem. At least you're here and you've gained something. So share with us what you've gained today in the review. Maybe in like one or two sentences.
Go on. Well, I really got, I really enjoyed hearing you guys, and
I think you're losing Zainab with. Okay, we're losing Zainab to network there. All right. Is it Mrs. or Miss Precia Tando Markitla? We would love to hear your voice at this point? Are you there? Oh, you have a problem with your network. Oh, okay. Okay. But you can hear us clearly, and you learned one or two things from the review today. I'm still waiting for your response, Mr. Ando. Were you able to hear us clearly? Okay, while she's sending a response to that, thank you very much, everyone, for coming on the show today. This is the third week in a row that we have been discussing the book by Professor Ken Schoolland, The Adventure of Jonathan Gullible, a Free Market Odyssey, a book that discusses the fundamentals of free market. And next week will be the final day of the review of this book, as we are going to be discussing and dissecting chapter 31 to 40 of the book, The Adventure of Jonathan Gullible, a Free Market Odyssey. And by next week, we are going to be having the author with us, and it's best if you can come around and ask so that you can hear from the horse's mouth what is behind the book, The Adventure of Jonathan Gullible, a Free Market Odyssey. This is the Liberty Show, and it comes out every Sunday to discuss things and review books that discuss a way to a freer world and a freer environment that leads to a prosperous future. This show needs sponsors and donors. So please, if you know you're out there and you wish to be a sponsor or donor for this show, in order for us to reach more audience, please reach out to us. And we're so much happy to work with you. And please don't forget to check our social media handle on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and LinkedIn. It's at The Liberty Show. Letter L, at The Liberty Show L. Or you can simply just type The Liberty Show with Leon on any of the platform, and it brings you out. And if you have any information to get to us in any way, please check the description column down there under this video, and you can see our email, info@faceoflibertyafrica.org. For our audience today, thank you very much for staying tuned since the beginning, even though we have some technical issues at the beginning, but thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. And until next week, that will bring you another edition of The Liberty Show with Leon. Stay safe. And please, coronavirus is real and it's still ravaging our economy and our society. Let's stay safe, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.